introduction to the new info screen, which is our web-based report tool to create custom dashboards or unmanned monitors to show reports. And if you have questions, I think we'll pass them to the end at 11:30, because we have more time there to ask questions and show you anything you might ask about. So let's go on. First, I want to talk quickly about the classical info screen. And the classical info screen is the one you can find in the MUR client here, MUR info screen. And that one is, we will not do any further development on that one, which means no new features, no extra options, or no new types of things to add there. We will also not give you a migration option. You can still use the old one, and you can create new info screens on a new one, but you can't migrate them automatically. But the idea is that you should be able to quite quickly recreate them. If you have an info screen on the old one you want to have on the new one, you should be able to do it fast. And later on, later this year, there will be even more options to create large info screens faster. With that said, the old info screen the classical info screen is still supported. It will still be supported in terms of being available and getting bug fixes and so on. And it will also, whenever you upgrade the MUR system, you will still have the classical info screen available. So all info screens you have created today will still work for years to come. We haven't gone through the classical info screen today in the repetition, but if you need help with the classical info screen, call support and we will help you over phone or Teams with any questions you might have. So just a few words about the new info screen. It's web-based, but it's a local web server, which is your MUR server, which means it's only available inside your factory where you have the MUR system today. That makes it safe and secure, and it makes it possible to also use offline. If internet goes down, you can still access this web interface. It's not feature complete, meaning it doesn't have all features as a classical info screen has. We're working on it, we're adding them as fast as we can, and sometimes we do them in a different way. But the goal is to make this new info screen capable of doing everything that will be needed to do. And this is also where we'll do new development, adding new ideas and so on. So if you give us feedback, this is where that feedback will be implemented. So to start, I'm going to do some very basic editing, showing how to add widgets, configure its parameters, and create a report. So to do that, I have a button here to go to our first report. And this is similar to the old info screen. It's a blank canvas where you can start editing. Right now we're in full screen, so we can move the mouse to the top blue bar here, and we can exit full screen, and now you see we are in the web interface. Here we have the edit button, which shows the grid that we can where we now can edit. A widget is every component you add to this screen: text, images, reports, videos, and so on, are called widgets, and you can add them using the plus button. And when we click the plus, we get this list of what is available today to add. So for example, I'm going to add a simple text box, which I can move and resize like this. And to add text, I can edit properties. So we have 4 groups of properties. When I right click, we have them listed here, and I choose content, but these 4 are also available here, so you can jump between them. And I'm writing a text, and now when we have the text, we can still move it, we can resize it, and the text will resize to fit the box as the classical info screen worked. Now if you want to change how it looks, we have a few properties, mainly under format. Here you can customize text format. You can, instead of having automatic size, as you just saw, you can specify a specific size and use some formatting. You can choose a few fonts. If you want more fonts, let us know. We can add more over time. And you can choose text color if we want to have a dark green color like this. And all changes you do here is automatically applied, so you only need to close the box, and they are shown here. Now I want to make the text a little bit bigger, so I will use the auto size again, so it looks like this. Next part, we want to add some report information. Let's add a pie chart. So I click the plus, and in report, in pie charts, we have stop codes. Click that one. Now we have a pie chart. And to make this contain some information, I need to specify what machine, what interval, and so on I want to use. So right click, I choose report parameters, and here we have an error message now saying we don't know what machine this report should be about. So I click machine plus, and can choose what machines to include here. Now you can only choose one machine at a time, or you can check this one and have a report include data for the summary of all machines in one go. But we also need a few more parameters. We need to specify interval. I want to select Monday's data. And here you have similar features as you had before. To select how this day follows. For example, if I only want to show the Monday's data, I choose to follow weekly, which means that this one is this week's Monday. Next week it will be next week's Monday. You have a few more options. You can specify shift, but if you don't do it, the default is to generate a report based on all shifts. And then there's a few extra options I'm not going through today that you can use to customize this specific report we're looking at now. And here we have the data. And similarly, we can show the availability utilization as a number. Let's do the same. Create a text utilization. And same thing here, we need to specify report parameters, and we need to specify a machine and time interval. %. So this is the basic way to add components. Afterwards you can move them and resize them. Let's see here. A little bit more about positioning. For example, let's say we want them to all be the same size. We have been a little bit lazy creating sizes. Let's create the first one as a template, and then I'm holding the control key while clicking the other ones. And then we can specify here horizontal button, and then we can choose to make them equal width like this. And then we want them to be aligned, so we'll put them all to the left side like that. And then vertically we want to stack them So I choose the horizontal button and pack, click pack. That will pack them as close as possible. Then we can also copy. I can select one or several, can copy one like that. What I did was Control C, Control V, but I can also use the buttons copy, copy and paste. So I can click copy and paste to have my copy. Now you don't have to copy one at a time. You can select all at once, copy and paste, and you have your new setup. I'm not going to show you how to modify. You might do this for one column for each machine, but I'm going to show you how to do that easier very soon. But before that, I'm going to talk a little bit about page size and full screen mode. Every new report, you start with a size that is equivalent of a full HD display. You can resize the report page to fit the content you want, but whatever size you choose, when you go into full screen mode, it will resize to fit, so the whole page will fit the screen. So this was a problem in the classical info screen, that you had to match the resolution of the report with the monitor you put it on. But now you don't have to do that, because it will always resize to fit the monitor you put it on. And when you are in full screen, you can move the mouse to the top. And right now we're still in edit mode. So we have all the tools available to us. But we can also leave full screen and go back to this mode. And we also have zoom options next to the full screen button, where you can zoom in and out to get more details. And this is useful when you have working on a larger or smaller monitor. And here you have the fit to screen option, which is the one we use when we go to full screen. Important to click save when you're done like this. So that's the basics of editing. Now let's move on to what we have done differently in this info screen compared to the classical one. We have done it slightly more complex, with the purpose to make it easier to create and work with. I'm going to talk a little bit about groups. For example, in this setup, let's remove that one. I have created this report here. I'm going to do it from the beginning again. This time I'm going to start with a group. Right now it's only one type of group, and it's called free. And it's called free because you can move it freely like this, or anything you put inside it can move freely. So I'm going to add text here. I'm not going to explain why, but let's call it interval. You'll see it later what that means. I'm going to add pie chart with stopcodes. I'm going to add something that is a table of stopcodes. And I'm going to show you the utilization. So add text utilization. Now I've added a lot of components, but none of them is working right now. But I've added them inside the group. So if I click here on the group, I can move everything that is inside group moves with the group. And if I make the group the same size of the content, you're thinking I can click this, but how do I click the group? You can do that by clicking 2 times. Every time you click, you go one step deeper in the group hierarchy of groups. And now when we have selected the group, we can move it again like this. But now comes the interesting about parameters, because we haven't specified any parameters on any of these components yet, and I'm not going to specify any parameters on the components. Instead, I'm going to do it on the group. So every parameter specified in the group will be applied to all parameters at once. So when the group is selected, I right click and choose report parameters. I will now specify a machine, a time interval, let's say last 4 days, and we use all shifts, and I close. And now we get all reports generated at once. So on the top here, I created what is a special time indicator. It indicates the time the report is based on, 8th to the 11th. I can instead change format here to show only the start time, and I can choose maybe another format like show the day of the week instead. And for the group, I'm going to change the interval parameter to follow weekly and to be only on Monday, like this. And I also want to show what machine is this report about. Let's add a text box. But instead of creating a text box and writing machine name, I'm going to choose the report parameter machine name. So now it says the name of the machine here. And I might also want to add some live status of the machine to show current stop code. Like this. And finally, I'm adding style to this group. I'm adding a background color and a border and a shadow. So that now you have the report here completely for the Monday for this machine. So important thing here is that if I click the pie chart and check the report parameters, you see the machine interval options, but they're gray and it says group in the right corner. It means that these settings are not local to this pie chart, but they are shared in the group the pie chart belongs to. The benefit of this is that if we now make a copy of this group, we only need to make one change. I'm going to change the interval from Monday to Tuesday. And suddenly you see the label changed, the report changed. And we can do this for all days of the week. Monday, Tuesday, let's do Wednesday as well. One more thing, these all belong to have the same machine. Let's say I want to create, now I'm going to put these 3 groups into a higher up group. I select all 3, click plus and create a group. Now I have a new group containing all these 3 together. And now I can make parameter changes in this one as well. But before that, I'm going to remove the machine option. I'm going to click the trash can icon to delete. I'm going to do it in all 3 groups. So if I knew this before, I could have simply not added the machine like this. And now I'm going to select the bigger group and add machine to that group instead. Like that. And now it's all up and working again. And with this, I can now make a copy of this larger group. And now in this other group, I'm going to change the machine parameter to the next machine. And now we have done it for 2 separate machines, 3 days of the week, quickly like this. So the idea is to make it easy to have a shared setting among several report tools, like this. And finally, we have one more thing. Now you see I've chosen a background. Let's say we want a slightly less noticing color. So I'm going to change the format here to a softer green. But before I leave, I'm going to click this copy button. I close that. Now you see I've changed the color here. Now I'm going to select the next group and I'm going to paste the background I copied. So now the background, I can paste the background on everyone like this. And this is how it looks afterwards. Now it's very easy to paste, but one way to prepare it to make it even easier is to again select the group, go to format, and I'm going to change this local setting. I'm going to click this change source button, and instead of a local setting to this group, I'm going to make it connected. It still looks the same, and I can copy it and I can paste it into every other group like this. Still the same as I did before. Difference when they are connected means that if I select any group and change the color like this, it will now apply to all at once. So you can have a consistent style on each info screen. This works with background color. It works with almost everything you can see here. So background color, border style, shadow, text format, and so on, all can be shared this way. We have a few more components on the info screen. And one of them is this interactive tools. For example, to the right now, as you notice, this is an info screen we're looking at now. We can change. I'm not editing this screen right now. It's in saved mode. But once it's open, I can change options, change machine, and so on. You can choose shifts, and other parameters. And once I select the machine, I can click this button. This will get me to another info screen. So from one info screen, I'm linking to another info screen. And this new info screen contain reports on the Swarv. If I go back and choose CNC, I can dig down. Now I get the report on the CNC. And so whatever you change here applies to the next page you go to. And that's that way you can dig down, create sub-reports, but you only need to create one sub-reports for all machines. So you can select machine and dig down afterwards. This works by using links, and I'm going to show you how that looks like. We have the content, and here I have pasted link to the other report. And that's all it needed. I don't need to specify machines and so on. It will be done automatically. And finally, we have the interactive, more interactive tools. For example, here I have started building similar to the web-based terminal, but here you can switch machines and you can enter. Let's switch to this one. Let's make it stop like that. And then we can enter a stop code like that. And this is inside an info screen, so you can add additional reports tool here. When you're working in full screen, you have the menu to the top, but you can also right click and choose plus here, or this plus to add a component, for example, pie chart of stop codes. The only thing missing now is the interval, like that. Content. Yeah, so it will, that way you can add stop codes and additional tables like this. So this way you can combine the terminal feature with the other reporting tools in the same screen. Yeah, time is running out. I'm going to mention a few more things here. About sharing info screens. When you edit an info screen, you have page settings where you can specify how to share it. You have two options, private and public. Private means it's your personal info screen. You need to log in as your user account in the MUR system to be able to see the screen. Private means it's shared among all users, but all users still need to be logged in. So it's not public on the internet, it's still local to your facility, and you still need to be logged in to the MUR system. Later on we'll add more options if you want to share to a specific person, or if you want to share to someone who is not logged in, for example. And whenever you see an info screen like this, you can always copy this link, send it to a colleague, and they can click the link and the info screen is loaded for them directly. This can also work in full screen. So instead of, if I click full screen, I get full screen, I don't see the address, but I can, instead of left click, I can right click, and now I have the address bar. If I send this link to a colleague and they click the link, they will have the info screen loading in full screen directly. And just some more tips what is possible. You can copy between reports. For example, if I open this new report, it's a blank report, I can edit, but let's edit this one as well. I will copy these two parts, and then I can paste them into the new info screen. So if you have some templates on one info screen, you can copy them to another info screen. You can also, let's say you think this was a nice button, nice design, I want to reuse it. You can select it, right click and click the download button. Then you get a file .mur downloaded. Whenever you edit an info screen, you can drag and drop that file to the info screen and you have the button there. You can also drag and drop images from your hard drive to the info screen. It will automatically upload to the MUR server and be available like that. And finally, this two-color background that you have here is not possible in the menus right now, but it's possible using custom CSS. So if we take a quick look at the format background, here you have custom CSS, which is what web developers use to create these designs. So you can use them in the info screen as well. There are quite good tools online to create custom button designs and backgrounds like this. Yeah, so that's all I had prepared for the new info screen. I hope I got some ideas, and just let you know that you have support for this one as well. So if you want to get started and get stuck, give us a call and we'll help you. Do we have any questions or any reactions to? Which one here? Okay, yeah, so let me copy this component and see if I can show you how to create a new report. We go to all reports, click create new, and create a new like this. So I will paste this one. So how the interactive component works. Yeah, so first I start by creating a report parameter and specify the machine like this. And it's still not interactive, but to make it interactive, I add a component to make it interactive. And that's important that I add the component in the same group that has the report parameter for the machine. So the group has the machine parameter, I have the group selected, and now I add an interactive machine picker like this. By default, it will automatically connect to the group it belongs to. So if I right click this one, show report parameter, you see machine group is already connected. And that's how you connect. You create a group and put the report and the machine selector in the same group. Now the group doesn't have to be visible like a frame or border. You could have a group that is only visible when you edit, but it's transparent. So if we want to put the machine selector outside the group, I will first remove the machine. I will create a new group. Okay, I have to, let's create the machine. Select it like this, and I will put them to, I select them both, create a group, and then I add report parameter machine to the group. Now they are connected. So this invisible group is connecting these two together like this. I can make it slightly bigger like that. So groups is the thing that is connecting the interactive tools with the report tools. In most cases, you could also use connected properties, as I've shown before, having changing background color. You could connect this one. If it's not easy to create a group, you can use a connected machine selector. You copy it and then you paste it into the group. So now the machine is connected. So this machine selector here is connected to this one over here, even though they don't have to be in the same group anymore. See if it's still, yeah, still working. Yeah. And yeah, while we're here, can just thanks. Bye. Yeah, and whenever you have, for example, this table of stop codes, you can right click, go to content, and here you have custom parameters. For example, you can show a lot of more information, hide empty rows, and sort by length instead of ID, for example. So we already have a few customizations here and there.